now.
Hi, I'm Andrea Geralds. I'm running for the 33rd District in Macomb County for the state representative against Jeff Garrick. The reason I decided to run was very kind of simple. I had considered running for other positions as I had paid attention to the vein our country was moving in. And right around the same time that Amazon declined to bring their new headquarters here, the Republican legislature also decided to put into law a bill that allows them to take a certain percentage of the money that our townships pass for public school millages and hand them to charter schools. And while I don't have a strong feeling on charter schools, I do have a strong feeling for my public schools. And my strong feeling is my teachers took a 5% pay cut 2 months ago. And then they passed that same legislation. And when I approached Jeff Garrick about it, he twice avoided my call. And when I posted something on Facebook saying, oh, you're going to see him at this luncheon tomorrow, that's great. Why don't you ask him how he could pass that millage? Well, he personally replied to me on Facebook, which was a major mistake. I really feel like that was a bad idea. And so he said, well, you know, I think you're referring to this House bill, and it's just important we address parity, and those are public charter schools. But feel free to contact me at any time. I'm always happy to discuss these with my constituents. And I said, that's cool, that's cool. I did contact you twice. And I didn't get anything back. I didn't even get a form letter. But let's talk about that cute little comment and statement you made up there, because when you say that these are public charters, what people were going to infer is that they are nonprofit. And so I did a little research. I'm a research person. I like to do my own research. I'm not a big fan of reading something on the internet and assuming it's true. I studied for my master's in American and political and diplomatic history with a minor focus on American military history. I was trained by some of the best historians in this country, and I understand very deeply the importance of primary source material. So I went to Google and I asked about academies and charter schools in this district, and every one of them is for profit. They're ranked among the bottom 5 in the state. And our teachers are taking pay cut after pay cut after pay cut. And you know what we're asking them to do? We're saying take a pay cut, and also, you're the first line of defense if someone decides to gun in our schools. You're the first line of defense. So here's your gun, and here's, well, no, we're not going to give you any body armor. That would scare the kids. Because I called the school district and I said, I just bought my kids bulletproof backpacks, and I would love to purchase one of those if I fundraise for every student or every teacher in that school. I can't send you body armor because it's going to scare the kids. They're going to look at that and say, what's that? Can I touch it? Can I play with it? Wow, that's really heavy. But if you give them a backpack with a bulletproof insert in it, it's a backpack. Kids don't care about backpacks. They have backpacks. They're bored. Well, the district declined. And I was like, really? But that's where we're at. We say, you may die for us. You may kill people for us. But we will not fund you. We will give your money to corporations that have no accountability to our kids or our communities, because here's what happens when they fail. They close up shop. They take all that money, or they file for bankruptcy and restructure their debt, and they go to Ohio, and they go to Tennessee, and they go down to Detroit, and they reopen. There's no hurt for them. And I was like, okay, I'm done with all of this. There's a lot of issues in Michigan that need to be handled. And what I've seen over the last decade, since the last census and the last gerrymandering, is that there's been a lot of damage done at a local level. A lot of it. And that's all over the country. I've lived all over the country. You see it all over the place. You see schools breaking down. You see the roads not working. You see people's unions being busted down to nothing. And then you see people on the TV arguing that that's a good thing. I'm like, how are you going to argue that it's okay for you to get screwed over? You literally just sat there and argued against yourself. But okay. I think that it's time to start working at the state level, to start really focusing on the things we can do as a state. And there's a lot of them. I think we need to legalize pot, even if it doesn't end up on the ballot. I don't smoke it. I never smoked it. But here's what's not fair. Okay. I pay taxes on my liquor every time I want to drink. I pay taxes on that. My grandma pays taxes on her diabetes medicine. You know who's not paying taxes on their medical marijuana or recreational marijuana? Sorry, guys, seriously, I'm sorry. I know
You gotta be careful with that, it doesn't get out of control either price-wise, because everything's gone up.
Everything's going up, sure, so's my beer.
No, I'm not a pot smoker either. I'm growing up when I graduated in '82. And getting medical marijuana, it's like $300 an ounce. And that, you need, like...
Good God, when I lived in Texas, it was like $25 for half an ounce. That's really ridiculous.
So, and if you're looking for pain,
I didn't.
you gotta
Okay, wait, I'll finish and then...
Yeah, she'll come back to you.
Okay, but if you legalize the music for pain care, maybe then you can get the insurance companies to pay a little more for it. That way you're not paying completely out of cost for your medications there too. Does anyone do that? I don't know how that works. I really genuinely have. Is there not a cost? Does the insurance cover that?
No, the insurance does not cover it. They covered the opioids he was on,
Mhm.
but it would not cover, when he got rid of those after the back surgery, would not cover the medical marijuana to manage the use.
So legalizing it and incentivizing insurance companies to pay for it instead of having to pay $300 out of pocket, which is absurd. I don't know what anyone's paying recreationally, but I do know that it's sort of time for everybody else to be paying their fair share too. And that money can be used for things we need, which schools, roads,
I know I've never seen $300.
bridges. There's another one shut down at like 25, no, it's on 25 until the road ends because the bridge shut down. But so that's the most of my positions. There's a few other things I'd like to see. I'd like to see a statewide tax credit for over-the-counter medications that you can't right now get a tax credit on. Things like joint braces, Depends, things like vitamins, things like zinc, things that are really expensive that you kind of have to purchase. And if you sit down and add up how much you spend in a year on generic ibuprofen and vitamin C and vitamin B, or if you have seasonal affective disorder, you got to do a lot of vitamin D all winter. Stuff is not cheap. And it adds up and it adds up and it adds up, and it's just one more unconsidered, uncovered health cost. I'd like to see a tax credit on that. I'd like to see tax credits for specialty programs that insurance don't cover right now, but are showing great benefits for things like Alzheimer's and ADHD and MS and stroke. There's a lot of that out there. People can't pay thousands of dollars out of pocket for it. But if the state of Michigan was said, okay, we can give you 25 or 50% tax credit on something like that, then maybe that's longer your mom and dad aren't in a dementia care home. Maybe that's longer your kids aren't taking medication for ADHD. You know, maybe that's a lifetime of not having to take medication for those kind of things. So there are a lot of things at a state level that we can think about and work on that don't have anything to do with anything people are ever talking about lately. Everyone wants to argue about guns. You want to argue about guns. You want to argue about gay marriage. You want to argue about transgender children in schools. You want to argue about... We didn't even argue. We just gave Nestle the water. That wasn't even an argument. We're just take it. Okay? And all of those arguments come up. Everyone wants... You want to argue about abortion. You want to argue about... The list goes on. I can't even... Religion. And I think to myself, listen to me. This country has been arguing about these things longer than I have been alive, literally. Our infrastructure was hacked by multiple foreign countries that are not our friends last year. We need to modernize. We need to modernize our country. We need to modernize our roads. We need to expand broadband, and the federal government's not doing it.
Okay, we're going to give time for questions. Thank you.
Questions?
Do you have a Facebook page or Twitter feed that people could follow? If you,
I do. I have both.
okay, if you can give the address to those while she's still got the camera running before the questions.
Sure. You can find me on Twitter at MI District 33. You can find me on Facebook at Andrea Geralds MI 33. And you can contact me at Andrea Geralds, it's ANDREAGERALDS, for District 33 at gmail.com.
Do you have any cards?
No, sir, I do not have any cards at this
Oh,
time.
okay.
I just about last week.
Could you take one of mine and put it on my email, how I can contact you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You said that the charter schools is a poor job.
Yes, sir. This is a national.
How do we do
Why
less
do
than
people use them?
I'm not sure. Sometimes it's because parents are desperate, that they're not receiving the support they need at their school. If the teachers have decided that their children aren't, have trouble, you know, or they're dyslexic, or they need specialty services. Sometimes people assume a charter school is going to be better. But what I can tell you is multiple studies at this point, so many studies have come out saying it's not true. Kids are being poorly served at these schools.
Because when they get them, they try to say they're impossible.
Well, they have lower standards, so they're not required by law to meet the same standards as public schools. It's a very complicated thing.
Sad story.
And Andrea, they're failing at the same rate as public schools.
Is there, yes, sir.
Are you going to put together a position paper of what you believe on different state issues?
I have put together, to some degree, those on my Facebook page. There's information on there on my position on several different things, most of which I covered, but not everything. One thing I do think that I didn't cover that is on there is my very deep urge to expand the Michigan apprenticeship program so that we can start working with children, not children, but teens, and especially at-risk teens or teens whose schools are just completely crap, and start moving them into these apprenticeship programs. We have a worker shortage here, a skilled worker shortage, and so getting kids like that into a really good job that keeps them with benefits would be very beneficial for all of us. Yes, sir.
So I'd like to add on the caveat to your apprenticeship program. I graduated out of high school in 2008. After 2008, high school got rid of the welding, auto shop, machine shop programs. I don't know how they stand.
Well, they replaced it with a different program that kind of moves children towards either the trades or the military and helps prepare them for those lives. And a lot of the other programs had to be cut simply because of the finances. And it's really hurt the whole state. We don't have enough welders. We don't have enough bricklayers. We don't have enough carpenters. We need these people in our communities. These are good jobs. These are strong jobs. They have good benefits. We can train them. We can train them in this state. And then, you know, anyway, so that's up there as well.
Have you ever been to the weekly business meetings of the trades?
I have not.
They have.
When you talk or ask your question, you have to do it loudly enough
I'm
that the
sorry.
people can hear, or
I'm sorry.
the speaker
I'm sorry.
has got to repeat it.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Every week, the trade unions in Macomb Township, Macomb County, has a weekly meeting at the pantry, and a lot of times they're offering trade education for kids, the unions themselves.
I would like to see that information on billboards. I want to see it up all over this state. The unions need people. We need younger people. A lot of these jobs are hard. My dad was a carpenter with the union. By the time he hit 30, he had 4 crushed discs in his back. He did like industrial building and down in Detroit City. The man hasn't been able to stand longer than 4 hours since I was 16 years old. These are not easy jobs. Technology has made these jobs easier, but you can't do a lot of these jobs as an old and being self-employed. So, any other questions?